I'm working on this Volkswagen Jetta. Hold on, let me clean the camera. It's pretty steamy in here. It's getting hot and heavy inside the garage today. Alright, it's a little better. Look at my shirt. No, that's not water, that's sweat. It is legit hot in here. I don't know, it's probably like 8 p.m. No, I'm not really working late today. I just kind of started. I didn't do anything for the whole first half of the day, so this was supposed to be tomorrow's project, but I decided to pull it in and get started on it tonight. It's getting both of the front struts. You can see what's going on here, how much they're sticking out, and it's actually even higher, but right now I got the car raised, but there's a pretty big gap once the car's on the floor. So not only is that an issue, these are, I believe they're original, yeah, see, Volkswagen, the original shocks or struts that came with the car. And also the driver's side so far has a broken spring, so anything that can go wrong is wrong with this strut assembly. So it's getting a brand new assembly on both sides, and on the driver's side we're getting a brand new lower control arm, and we're getting new outer tie rods, which as you can see I already installed this one. So it's kind of getting the works. It actually needs brakes as well, you can see that. Yeah, but we're not doing brakes at this moment, so it sucks. It's hot. I mean, whatever temperature it is outside, you walk into the garage and because it's just kind of like sitting air, there's no airflow, the temperature just bumps up like 10 degrees. So that's about 90 inside of here. So I'd imagine it's something like 80 outside or something, or whatever. It's just freaking hot. So I'm just about done on this side. Everything is put together. You see we have the new strut installed, new lower control arm, new outer tie rod. I had to disconnect I think they call it the dog bone, so I could swing the engine forward a little bit and then loosen the two bolts on the subframe to drop the subframe just a little bit in order to get that one bolt out. And all of that is put back together and tightened down as well. So yeah, I'm calling a quits for tonight. I'm sweaty, nasty, dirty, and I'll come out here tomorrow and finish the rest of it. On the right side of the car, I have to... Hold on, I thought I had to burp, but I don't. Okay, so on the right side of the car, I have to put on the strut assembly and a outer tie rod as well. And I also have to do a oil change and change the coolant temperature sensor for like the 5th time on this car. I've been working on this car for many years. And every year or two the owner keeps getting that same code for the coolant temperature sensor, and like I said, every 1 or 2 years we just go ahead and change it out. They're AutoZone parts, so I guess they're under warranty, and he just keeps swapping them out. Hey, whatever. I suggested that he go to the dealer and just get an original one, but we keep swapping out AutoZone parts. Whatever, it's not my car. But yeah, I'm done for tonight. From the windows to the wall, to the sweat drops down my balls. Now I know what you're thinking, man, he does a pretty good Lil Jon impersonation. Well, you should hear my DMX. Hey yo bitch. I'm out taking this Volkswagen for a test drive, and I can immediately tell a difference. It's taking the bumps a lot smoother up front. It's a lot quieter, no more clunking noise, so I'm happy with it. This car has no AC. It's hot in here. You know when the AC doesn't work yet you still got the fan on, expecting it to get colder, but it never really does. Alright, so I got this Volkswagen Jetta here. It's actually here because it's getting a new thermostat, new O-ring for thermostat, and the plastic housing, like this little elbow right here. This stuff was just replaced by our shop because he's getting you know, cooling codes, and figure what the code is for. Basically the cooling system just isn't seeing what it wants to see. It's not getting up to temperature fast enough, and I guarantee you the shop that put the part in, it's just an AutoZone part. So I told him if I'm gonna do this, let me get out the wind, we're going to put a OEM part in. So it's what I did. I went to the dealer and I picked up original thermostat, the O-ring, and that plastic housing. So I have to still do that. But another thing is, all the mounts on this car are shot, okay? So it transmits a ton of vibrations into the cabin. So as you can see, I started on the transmission side, and here goes the old one. Let me put my foot on it. This thing is just super loose and it moves like crazy. Alright, moves in every direction. Here's a new one. Nice and solid. Here goes the mount on the passenger side. Can't really do this one hand, but this one moves pretty easy. Doesn't take a lot of effort to move it. New one is nice and solid. And of course, if you're changing the two upper mounts, you might as well change the lower mount. I just did a cold startup in this Jetta and it is significantly better. Way better inside of here. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect. It's a freaking, you know, like a 17-year-old car or whatever. But this is a massive improvement as far as the amount of vibrations that are coming inside. And he also had a loose heat shield underneath the car that was just rattling like crazy. So I went underneath the car and took care of that. Now I have to change the thermostat. Yeah, this stuff on here, let's see. Put a pretty hefty layer of silicone on here. And there is a good amount right there. You could even see some of it on the thermostat. Now, is it restricting the thermostat in any way? I don't know. You know, but with that much silicone in the cooling system so close to the thermostat, you can imagine at some point a chunk of it's going to break off and get jammed inside of there. Anyway, I guarantee you that's not a OEM thermostat. I'm pretty sure it's like AutoZone one. When it's stamped, it says Motor Rad on it, so of course it's not a OEM. And now I have the pleasure of cleaning up all that freaking silicone right there, which really sucks. So I did take the original one or the new one out of the packaging, and it is stamped with VW right there, right on the face. It's hard to see. The reason why they slapped all that silicone on is because I've been here before to do this job with those same exact parts, okay? New gasket or O-ring from AutoZone, new thermostat from AutoZone, and guess what? You put it all together and it doesn't seal. It leaks. I've taken it apart like 2 times after that. You know, like it leaks, so like, okay, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I pinched the O-ring. So you do it over again, put coolant in the system, and guess what? It leaks again. And at that point, I ended up grabbing the old or the original O-ring, put it on the new thermostat, and it actually sealed. So it wasn't anything I did wrong. It's literally the parts, okay? The parts aren't working. So that's why they filled this whole thing with silicone, because I guarantee you they ran into the same problem I did. They put a new O-ring from AutoZone, new thermostat, and it wasn't sealing, it was leaking, so they had to take it back apart, I bet you. And this time they just slobbered it up with silicone. Alright, so here's where I'm at. As you can see, it looks way better. Spent a decent amount of time trying to get all that silicone out of there. One thing you got to make sure to do is grab your air gun and blow out the 2 holes of where the bolts are going to go, because coolant does tend to get inside of there, and obviously coolant is not compressible, so when you go to put in your bolt, it's not going to let that bolt properly seat or bottom out how it's supposed to, because there's liquid inside of there. So of course I blew these out and a good amount of coolant came out of them, so yeah, it's something to be aware of. But I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and get the new parts and test fit everything. Here's our new parts. We got the new O-ring, thermostat, and this thermostat housing. So I'm just walking past here, right? I look at the old thermostat and I noticed something. I'm like, when I put the previous AutoZone thermostat in here, I don't remember it having 3 holes in it like this one does, right? See, 1, 2, 3. So you turn it around on the backside, and if you run your finger across the hose, there's like crazy burrs right here, meaning like it'll snag your finger. So it didn't come like this. Someone drilled these holes into here. So this explains our code. We have a code for like cooling system performance. Basically, the engine isn't getting up to temperature as fast as it wants to. And this would explain that. With these big holes, especially that one right there, with these holes drilled into the thermostat, it's constantly letting coolant pass instead of restricting it so that the temperature could rise faster, and then only open and allow coolant whenever the thermostat opens. But with these holes in it, it's constantly letting antifreeze get by. So this 100% is why we could be getting that code. Yeah, you should not, I don't know, man. I don't know why they drilled holes in it. Whatever, I'm not gonna. That's not the point. We're here to fix this, okay? Alright, so I put some coolant in the system. I decided to pressurize the system. As you can see, we are right there, and it's holding pressure. And I made sure, obviously, to keep a very close look at the job we just did, so the thermostat. And I don't see anything dripping. And like I said, we're holding pressure, so good sign. OEM parts for the win. Yeah, that AutoZone gasket, that crap doesn't work. Like I said, I had to do the job like 3 times before I ended up just putting the OEM gasket back in it last time. And look, original parts, very first time, no leaks. If you take your car to a shop because of a overheating issue and they say it's the thermostat that's causing it, okay, so they say they replace the thermostat, but at the same time they drill a hose into it like this. See the 3 holes that are drilled into the thermostat? That right there causes its own problems, and on top of that you can see they just slobbered silicone over everything to get it to seal. You probably should not be taking your car back to a shop like that.